We'll just give it another couple of minutes.
Yeah, we'll give it one more minute and respect everyone's time that showed up. All right, Simon, I think we
Yeah,
can rock and roll.
yeah, let's start.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Suman. I'm the director of research and strategy here, basically working on all different things together. And Chris and I have been working on updating bunch of our systems, bunch of our reports, and some of our reports just got facelift, but this one is a lot more than a facelift. So we thought we'll step in and introduce the changes that we actually worked on for last 4 or 5 months, 6 months. Chris is our in-house practitioner. She teaches me hair analysis. She's an expert in hair analysis. My background is very different. I'm a chemist. I was not involved with clinical lab until I joined Kennard. So like 2.5, 3 years ago. Uh, Came a long way, trying to learn as we go. And today, Chris will take over, talk about all the changes in the hair analysis report. We have a second part of this that is coming next week. We too, again, will come and talk about our model that we came up with for you guys to interpret the hair analysis result more quickly, I would say. And it gives you a summary of what you're looking at in a very short span of time. So without any delay, I think I'll just hand over the floor to Chris and take it over.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm Chris Brown. I am a registered holistic nutritionist, a certified food service nutrition practitioner, functional diagnostic. I forget all of the acronyms, but what does that tell you? It tells you that I'm immersed into the holistic field, full fledged. Suman has been the faithful student for months now on the hair mineral, and he's a bit modest because holy bananas, this, if you get a chance to meet Suman, please do, because the way his brain works is just absolutely phenomenal. And I have been very blessed to be working with him. I truly feel that he
Oh,
has
thank you.
advanced. Well, it's true. He has
That's too
advanced
much.
my he has advanced my level of, interconnections. He's taught me a bit of some chemistry. Never thought I'd want to know chemistry, but here we are. And all of this stuff. So this is the first time I presented on Teams. I am not shy to present. I teach for the Canadian School for Natural Nutrition, and I do webinars for other practitioners. The difference here is as I'm navigating a new system, I'm clicking and I'm clicking and I'm clicking. So I'm doing a lot of clicking. So bear with me as I may just have to, mute a participant. If you can mute yourselves, that'd be awesome. And or let somebody in. So we have a very exciting lineup for sure. And why I say that is not only have we put a lot of grit into this project, as a practitioner who uses hair mineral analysis, I will tell you there was some gaps. And we have really gone through, we have spoken to other practitioners that use the HMA. We have collectively gone to naturopaths and professionals who teach this just to collect all of the goods. And again, super excited. So, what we're going to do today is the goal is to move through the main changes that you'll notice, especially on page one. So, that bar graph. And then we're going to look at how these new sections that are going to follow it, how they're clearer, they're structured. There's a lot to gain in here. So this is not a full HMA training. So HMA, hair mineral analysis. What we're doing, it's just a practical walkthrough that has changed really how you're going to really be able to discern the information. Okay, letting more people in. We're not sure why Simon lost his controls, but he did. So we'll get them back. We'll get them back for the 7th. All right. So this is really, and hopefully we can see it. What we're going to do is we're going to send you a copy of the new report and the replay. So if it's tiny right now, no worries. You'll have
Yes, I can't see the presentation. Can I get into presenter mode?
You can't see, like, as in like big?
I don't see anything.
You can't see anything. Okay. Anybody else? Throw me a chat or just let me know if we can see anything. So you can see the first page, Suman?
Now I can see. Okay,
Oh,
so the way it works is if you don't see it, there is a PowerPoint logo, kind of a file logo in there. Just click on that and it's going to show up.
okay. You can see it now, though.
Mhm.
Okay. Beautiful. Oh, Angela can see things. Beautiful. Thanks for letting me know. Super helpful. Okay. So this is the first visual change that you're going to notice. So the updated, I like to call it the sexy layout, but it's not very professional. However, it is really the updated layout. It makes the first page easier to move through because the eye can follow the sections. It is really a more natural order. So the goal is not to change how, us as practitioners interpret the HMA. The goal is to make the first page easier to navigate so that we can orient faster before moving into the deeper interpretations. Let's see if we can get this for you, Simone. Can you see it? So here's what the mineral lineup, right? So we're not going to support how practitioners already think through a hair mineral analysis. We have primary minerals that help orient the larger patterns first. So that's our calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. Then we're going to go into our secondary minerals and supported context. And then we're going to get the third level and then those trace minerals to really help refine the interpretation. So this matters because the nutritional section no longer reads like a flat list of elements. It gives practitioners a clear order review, really moving from that broader mineral regulation into more specific cofactors, trace level context, and very similar to what we see as an industry standard. All right, so this layout, it's going to keep those nutritional minerals and the burden markers visually distinct. So in the first report, we used to have hair toxicities, so heavy metals first, and then nutritional elements. It's reversed this time. Also, our beloved nickel is taking a back seat into the nutritional element profile and going into the other elements. So that would be under the potential toxic and non-essential section. And this makes sense because it's not generally read like a zinc, a copper, selenium, chromium, or even manganese, right? It's more relevant as an exposure, a burden, or really an interference marker. So this keeps the nutritional mineral section focused on nutrient and pattern interpretation, while the heavy metals and the other elements are reviewed through different lenses. All right, now this is where you might see a major change. I mean, Canalt's has always included ratios. So the update is that the additional relationship markers are now included and really organized more clearly. So you have energy and metabolism ratios, you have, structural ratios, you have additional ratios. When we look at the individual ratios, and I'm going to keep this nice and short, as short as I can. However, I do want to highlight, because we've captured your attention for 30 minutes, I want to tell you some significance on why we've added some of these. So as an example, potassium and magnesium, it looks at activation. Sorry, I'm just going to mute. If everyone can just make sure their microphones are muted. All right, there we go. We'll get it for the 7th. growing pains, right? So potassium magnesium looks at the activation compared with magnesium buffering, right? This helps practitioners see whether cellular activity may be outpacing the body's ability to regulate and stabilize, right? We have added calcium and strontium, zinc, calcium and zinc, magnesium and phosphorus. And I mean, magnesium phosphorus, that looks at buffering compared with cellular turnover, right? Really useful when stress, training recover, repair demand. It may be using magnesium faster than restored. When we look at, zinc and iron, zinc and phosphorus, zinc and selenium, again, even what's one? Iron and manganese, right? That looks at iron activity with trace mineral cofactor context. So for this, it helps practitioners really avoid reading that iron alone. This is something I see when I sit with practitioners often is, oh my gosh, iron's elevated, iron's too low, let's iron supplementation. So the discernment comes a little more natural, right? So is it, adding oxidative or mitochondria or enzyme cofactor context? So we have a lot of, again, new, and there could be more training if we're interested in that, as well as, and I think this might be on the next slide. One second. Sorry, I just got to keep going back and letting people in. Get out now. Okay, so when we go to the value comparison, the hair mineral is really strongest when trends are followed over time. This is why we ask people to repeat the test, whether that's 4, 6, depending on whatever your protocol has outlined. Because a comparison value helps practitioners see whether patterns are resolving, intensifying, shifting. And this really supports better pacing, really a more grounded report reviews, because practitioners now we're like speaking to movement, not just isolated findings on one test. So you're going to start to see the previous results and the new results. So we can see that flow quickly. And I mainly work online, and what I find too is, I can hold one page up. So when we were redoing this, I said that first page has to hold the most value. The more I have to scroll, the more it takes away from that value when I'm trying to discern the information. A lot of practitioners were also giving the same value. So that's just one connection as well. So a little bit of a language update. So where it used to say, in range, really, we've gone from acceptable to in range. And in range, clearer. It's a value, it really can be in range and still matter when reviewed through ratios, trends, symptoms, and the full pattern. So this wording is easier for clients to understand and gives practitioners more room to explain context without implying an in-range value is automatically ideal. So on reports, you may have been up against the same challenge. Clients would say, patients would go, I don't get it. Why is there any interference? It says it's acceptable. My mercury's in the acceptable range. My potassium is in the acceptable range, right? So these are the things we want to be able to work through. So again, we appreciate everybody's feedback because you've been able to make this project possible. You're doing great, by the way. So now the visual flags and the symbols, this is an added bonus. So the symbols are really a scanning tool, not full interpretation. They're just here to help us quickly identify which findings may deserve deeper review. This supports faster orientation without moving through the need for really that clinical judgment or pattern-based interpretation. The beautiful thing is now, even if it's in mid-range where it's questionable, it's not excessive in red, you're going to see that come up. So again, even if it's within range, if by ratio it is out of range, you're going to have that marker, that symbol, that color to give the visual flag. Again, less explanation as to why we're potentially saying, hey, well, you know what, the calcium and phosphorus, yeah, it's in range, but it's sitting at 4. And I'd like to really bring value to the client to understand why that might be a moderate a symbol that's going to show up. Okay, so that's the first page. So the first page is going to go nutritional elements, then it's going to go heavy metals, and then it's going to go to our wonderful ratios. I truly love ratios. They really correlate to body systems and potential organ congestions, and just brings that report along with the client's file to life. Now, the elemental burden is what we're going to go through in great detail on the 7th. So, same 1 p.m., July 7th. But we wanted to give you an overview. So, this becomes page 2. This is new. This is not an industry standard. This is something that has taken 8 months, a lot of math on Suman's part, and a lot of case studies to validate its accuracy. So we're extremely excited to present what we call the Elemental Burden Index, the EBI. So this section is designed to give practitioners a quick overview of overall elemental load and pattern relevance. So it's not meant to replace, again, full interpretation. It's a summary tool that helps practitioners orient before moving into the deeper of the report. So again, July 7th, please, if you cannot make it, because it's prime vacation mode, what I'd like you to do is definitely, we're going to send publications out, get registered so that you can get the replay. So on this page 2, we're going to start to show oxidation patterns and types. So this can start to give us a sense of that broader pattern again, right? So the pattern flags, they're going to help us catch common HMA patterns faster with really manually checking every cutoff during the first read. This is going to support that experienced practitioner who really wants to speed up, their report findings, and or the newer practitioners who need clear structure. This is really great. So we're going to see things like calcium shell, magnesium shell, the extreme potassium sodium ratios. We constantly hear about the sympathetic and parasympathetic patterns as well. The other thing is we're going to show that 4 high, the 4 low, reduced buffering capacity, and bioavailable calcium and magnesium. This is basically taking a 700-page book and condensing it into a couple pages. So not only are you going to get the oxidation type, so are you slow, mixed, what's happening in here, but we're also going to see core patterns, because these patterns, if it's 4 lows, 4 highs, they start to bring to life potentially, oh, that makes sense why that client, that patient is displaying those symptoms. This is a classic parasympathetic or burnout stage. This is a classic digestive, interference, these types of things. Okay, 1 second. Okay, letting more people in. So when we look at we also have gone in and refined some of the reference ranges. So some of them were very broad. And again, through case studies, we have been able to take certain values or ratios, flag them differently. That was not done in the last report. So, and this doesn't mean, again, that interpretation becomes reactive, right? It means the range is redefined or I should say refined, and the result still needs to be read through, again, full chart, full history, symptoms, and the repeated testing, right? So now it's bringing the value and the triage of what the client and patient is going to go through. So I kind of jumped the gun a little bit because I talked about the borderline findings, but that was really in the symbols. But we've continued this pattern. So again, if every flagged value receives like a long explanation, the report becomes really harder to use. So the updated format is going to keep those borderline findings more concise while really giving the deeper context where it is more useful. So this is going to help, again, us practitioners focus on the strongest findings first. It's really going to keep mild shifts available as supporting context. So we have detailed pages, and of course, it's going to include interpretive context, mineral discrepancies, synergist, antagonist, potential, sources, Even some literature, as you know, the inner geeks like myself, some people say, hey, can I really get some literature on that? For sure. So literature associations have been added in. And then, of course, management strategies were absolutely relevant. And this is what the new re- report finding pages look like. So I know it's tiny, but I just wanted to let everybody kind of moggle over that. So you'll see the element, big, bold. You'll see a bar and a scale. So you'll see that number. It's going to restate this. Again, then we're going to go down into the details. And then you're going to bottom left is going to be the synergist antagonist. On the right-hand side, that's where we've got that inner geek section, that literature referencing. And again, inside the body in here, we can even have, certain things that are highlighted in order just to do a quick reference consolidation of the report while still giving you, hey, by the way, this is what this is connected to, and this potentially could look like this, so that you can deep dive into that client patient file. You're almost there. All right. Again, so the exact same range when we go into the ratios, right? So the sodium potassium is going to look, we're going to have the number big, bold, really in your face. Now, this is a practitioner report. We're still going to have the patient reports. They are going to still have just a snippet of the information and obviously available through your portal. Again, which is really neat, is we've told you, hey, potentially this is looking based on the numbers that your client has a calcium shell. You don't have to go and, take out our trusted AI and say, hey, what the heck's a calcium shell? We're going to now support you. What is a calcium shell? How it interlinks, what it looks like, right? So the information is all there and captured for you. When it comes to clinical associations, again, this is where I was saying that bottom right-hand side, that's that literature-informed synergies, just so that you can discern the information if you do need that, antagonist and synergist on the left-hand side. And it's also very neat because have you ever seen a report come through and it says, hey, not only is this vitamin a synergist, it's also antagonist. So we get, and calcium is very notorious for that with vitamin D, right? Vitamin D, this is not the true expression, it's just easier to explain like this, can build or promote calcium. So sometimes if somebody's taking D and we can't do anything, we might see high calcium, right? However, calcium and vitamin D have a beautiful interconnection. One of the missing cofactors is magnesium. So again, we're going to be able to go through those synergists and those antagonisms and say, this makes sense because clinically the report shows that they're low magnesium. This might work, right? All right. So you have made it all the way to the end. We promised we wanted it short, sweet, and to the point. So I hope we hit that. If you have questions, if you have comments, if there's anything you'd like to share, please feel free to unmute yourself. I think everybody does have the capability. If they don't, just, come on camera, wave, and let me know, and I can unmute you. Happy to answer all your questions. Just want to make sure I got the chat in here. Okay. Okay, wonderful. So we are going to, again, send out the replay for everybody that has registered. We are going to link the registration for the EBI on July 7th so that you can learn more about that. It's at 1 p.m. EDT as well. And we will also send a copy of the new report so that you can see it live in detail, the same as we had on the screen. And should you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can absolutely go to inquire@canotlabs.com. If it's specific around reports and how, needing time to discern some of your reports, needing assistance in order to review those, you can absolutely reach out to Chris, CRIS, @canotlabs.com. Always willing to help out. Copper Molybdenum ratio, yeah, that's my favorite. That was my first ad. Yeah, I didn't go through all the ratios because I didn't want it to make it super extensive for everybody. However, yes, copper and molybdenum is definitely a ratio. We want to see that. We want to see any potential hidden copper that we might have in there, right? Nicole says looks great, so that's great. We're very excited about it. It's clean, it's modern, and it's definitely advanced. 100%. All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for donating your time, coming and watching all our new. And again, if you need anything, please reach out to Inquire or Chris, and we will get you sorted. Until July 7th, stay cool because we're in for a heat wave. So you're welcome, everyone. Have a great day.